Hey, what's going on, everybody? So the moment's finally here. I'm going to share my dirty bourbon old-fashioned recipe. But before I do that, two things I want to say. One is thank you to everybody who bought a cocktail muddler this season. It was kind of a fun thing I've been meaning to do selfishly, and I did do it selfishly because we didn't have a nice muddler at the house, and I kind of always had this idea in my head and finally got around to doing it, and then figured I'd batch them out so that others could enjoy them as well. And that leads to my second thing, which is it inspired the craft cocktail old-fashioned board, which, as you can see, I'm using it as a display right now because this one and the other one I made are already for somebody, and I don't want to use them and muck them up before they even get delivered. But as you can see, there's a well for the mother. There's 3 wells that can be divided amongst sugar cubes, the cherries, and whatever other fruit you might want to use, like blueberries or blackberries. I sometimes add to my old-fashioned seasonally. And then the last other big well is for citrus. And then there's a nice little service area to prep your citrus on, prep your fruit on, and then also to make your drinks. So now turning to the drink. Pretty simple process, but what I do want to talk about before I make it is a couple things. First, get yourself good cherries. These are Luxardo cherries, which are great. Don't stay away from the nuclear red maraschino cherries. Get a Luxardo. Get a Woodford Reserve, has a bourbon barrel aged cherry that's also really good. And there's some other brands out there. Just stay away from the nuclear red. Bitters. There's so many bitter options out there now these days. There's a bunch of boutique makers. So explore bitters as an option to tailor it to your needs. And then third is bourbon. And this is a personal choice as well. Generally, day to day, we use the creamish yellow color label 4 Roses. It's their entry level bourbon. That is a phenomenal mixed drink bourbon to use. It rates well on all the reviews and whatnot. But I've been using it for years, and it's just fun to see how highly regarded it is as an entry level cocktail bourbon. And you can also just sip it. But today I have a few others, and if you're not familiar with Whistlepig is probably by far one of my favorite whiskeys to drink. It's a rye whiskey, and I'm going to make my old-fashioned with it today, which I don't believe I've ever done. Now, outside of that, turning into the cocktail, it's a very easy drink to make. They make it much differently here in Wisconsin. They usually use brandy, and they use sweet or sour. And I don't like either. I kind of prefer it a little bit more subdued. I like the flavors to shine through more so than the soda, which is either 50-50 or like 7-Up or Sprite. So the adjustments I've made are pulling back on that, using sparkling water in its place, and dialing down the sugar. So here it is. The traditional way is a sugar cube and then bitters. Today I'm using 3 different bitters because I like this blend. I have orange, a couple drops of each, spiced cherry, sassafras. So next I go to bourbon, and I do 2 muddles. One with the bourbon and, well, in this case, rye whiskey, and the sugar and the bitters, because you break up that sugar cube in advance, let it start dissolving in the alcohol. But more importantly, it's not as messy. Sometimes if you put the orange in and muddle right away with the cherry, it gets a little hairy and you waste good booze. So you want to break this up, let it dissolve, start dissolving, and now we can add our fruit. So don't be afraid to get a little bit of the syrup in there if you do like it a little bit sweeter and cherry flavored. And now I'm going to do my second muddle. So this releases the flavors of the fruit. Just want to break that up. And from here, real easy. A little ice. Top it off with orange sparkling water. Not too much, because you don't want to like just be drinking sparkling water. Give it a stir and enjoy. Now I will say, I like to use a smaller glass. I prefer to make more than kind of a larger glass because they get watered down. I think they're better when the sparkling water still has the effervescent, the carbonation to it, and before all the ice melts. Hope you all have a great New Year, great holiday season. Thanks for the support. Cheers. Oh yeah, that's good. Oh yeah, I wish you could taste this. Whistle Pig makes a good old fashioned. Damn, that's an expensive habit though. Maybe don't buy Whistle Pig because it's not cheap.